So I go through this early phase of my life. I'm doing quite well in school. I'm in all the A groups of everything. I was quite a bright student, weirdly enough. School was an escape for me. It was an escape from my home, so I threw myself into my study. And my study was going really, really well. I was in all the O-level groups. That's showing my age a bit now, right? But in all of the O-level groups at school, across the board. And one day, shortly before my 16th birthday, I woke up in my house to screaming, like really loud screaming. And it was the screaming that told me that my mum was being beaten up again, but that something was going horribly wrong, right? Not that it couldn't be horribly wrong in the first place, but she was being beaten up again. I jumped out of bed, I ran into the living room, and I punched my father as hard as I could in the chest. Weird thing is, as I pulled my hand away, my hand was covered in blood, and so was he. Turns out I didn't punch him in the chest. Turns out I was an army cadet at the time, and I'd taken a 6-inch hunting dagger from my bedroom without knowing it, completely unconsciously, and punched a knife into my dad's heart. 15 years old, stabbed the person through the heart. So my dad's training worked, right? You're all going, shit, where's this going? This isn't very inspirational. I kept him alive, but a side effect of this is he's from an old gangster family. He wasn't going to snitch on me. He wasn't going to take me to court, but the police were thinking of pressing charges. And so I had to leave home. Weirdly enough, he got to stay. I had to go and leave home. I went to live with my grandma for a while. And while I was there, I signed up for the army. I signed up for the junior leader parachute regiment. And I had 6 months to go, and we weren't really sure what was going to happen with me. But one thing I knew for certain is that I couldn't go back into the school system. Just, after stabbing your dad through the heart, like what's everyone else talking about? What do you get up to at the weekend? Oh, stab my dad. Kind of doesn't go down too well. So I went and lived in the mountains in Wales, in Brecon Beacons, for 6 months by myself. I was living off the land, hunting, poaching, working on farms. Eventually went and joined the parachute regiment. Stage of my life went on through the army. I've served in a bunch of really brilliant and awesome and elite regiments. I've been really fortunate to. Eventually, though, I decided to come out of full-time forces. And when I came out, I was back to where you would imagine, what do you say to a person like, what are your skills? I can jump out of planes, blow shit up, and kind of march a lot, right? So I had no skills. I had no qualifications because I'd left school. So I didn't have the bits of paper that everyone wanted. I was like, crap, because by this point I had 2 kids. I've got 4, by the way. By this point I had 2 of my children already. And so I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do to make money? And I did what I think now any good dad would probably do. I took every job I could get. I spent time as a bodyguard. Didn't really like it very much. I spent time as a road sweeper, as a shelf stacker in Sainsbury's, as you name it. Right, so I took on lots and lots of jobs. I even worked in the sewers, literally shoveling shit. That was my job. Amazing job, by the way. And eventually I was hit by an idea about what I could do with my life. There wasn't a kind of limit, because I was starting to fall into this pattern of thinking that life was just about making the money, going home, spending it, making the money, going home, spending it. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, because that's, for what a lot of people, that's what their life is like, right? But I got this idea, and I said, what do I really enjoy, and what am I really good at? And I'd been boxing since I was 12 years old. I'd been a soldier since I was 16 years old. At like 25, 26 years old, I'm like, I love fitness. I love working out. I became a personal trainer. From being a personal trainer, I moved into some very, I won't even bore you with it, but I moved into some really technical areas of rehabilitation, and then endocrinology, and then behavior, and a whole bunch of amazing things. I got to work with Bob Proctor at one point, Bob Proctor from The Secret, and he challenged me to write a book, and I wrote a book. And I wrote a book that's partly got that story in. So I wrote the book, and it went on to become a bestseller. In the first 7 days, it sold $107,000 US worth in the first 7 days. Against an audience, a target market of people like Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor and all those kind of things. I was like, shit, you can do some amazing things in life. And I've gone on since then to own and operate personal training studios. I've gone on to write international endocrinology certifications, international neuroscience-based life coaching certifications. My clients have included royalty and CEOs and you name it, right? The weirdest story to get to where I've got to. I can promise you, probably without a shadow of a doubt, I'm probably the least qualified person in most of the rooms that I attend. And I've spoken on stages to 500 people. I've advised governments on what they should do with certain aspects of behavioral change in their communities. And what this has given me is perhaps one of the most unique views on how we can give up a lot of our perceived ideas about what everyone else wants from us and what everyone else expects from us. You don't have to be a leader in order to make an impact. Right? That's a fallacy. The leadership game has been built in order to sell you into the next course that you have to take to get the next promotion, to take the next course to get the next promotion, to take the next course. But what if you could just sidestep all of that and play the game in a completely different way? Because look, this is going to sound really weird. You know, I just told you I'm an educator. I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. I do all these things. But the words that I prefer to describe myself with is visionary and guru. And you're probably sitting out there going, what? Who calls himself that? Me. I'm a visionary and guru. Here's why I'm a visionary. I tend to see things that other people don't see. Or actually, maybe that's not true. Maybe I see things that they see, but I see them in a different way. Or maybe that's not true. Maybe I see them in the same way, but I see a different use for it. Or maybe it's none of the above, maybe it's all of the above, and maybe it's a whole bunch of different permutations beyond that. And that in itself has enabled me to literally move into what most people would call leadership positions in every one of my 8 limited companies. Right? As a solopreneur, essentially, every single one of my companies make multiple 6-figure incomes. And ultimately, I get paid just to be me. Just think about what I just said there. Like, imagine what life would be like if you could be paid to be you. Not paid to be a leader or paid to be what an organization wants you to be, but paid to be you. Shit. There's nothing better than that. Get paid to be you. Why do I call myself a guru? Because I am. But so are you. The only difference between us is that I know it and I admit it and you don't. Guru comes from the ancient Sanskrit. Gu meaning dark, ru meaning light. A guru is just a person who shines a light on your darkness. You can all guru each other right now. Telling somebody, that sounds dirty, doesn't it? We'll talk about that after. But we can guru each other now. Like your children guru you all the time. If you've ever not known how to play a certain game on Xbox, your child gurus you, I'm sure. They take you out of the dark and into the light. It can be that simple. At the moment, guru has become a dirty word. Fitness guru, marketing guru. We do this bunny ears air quote thing. Right? But what if we reinstated the real beauty and power of guru back into our own lives and actually chose to do that? You just said, I'm not going to play the leadership game anymore. I'm just going to go out into the world and shine my light as brightly as I possibly can. And as soon as I say that, usually in a room, there's some people that go, oh, wow. And there's other people that go, and there's other people that go, that's all right for you, not me. No one's going to listen to me. I've got nothing really to offer here. I want to share with you that every single person in this room can be paid to be themselves without going on another course, without taking another certification, without reading another book. You could leave today gurus. Because the truth is, you came in as gurus already. All you've got to do is decide to put the t-shirt on. Right? And then you've got to learn to do the pec dance. Right? That's part of the deal. So I'm going to prove to you that I'm a guru. I'm going to absolutely prove it without a shadow of a doubt, because I'm going to read the minds of each and every beautiful soul in this room right now. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt why you started your business. It really only comes down to kind of remembering what you really, really wanted on the very first day that you said, I can go and do this for myself. Like, I don't have to work for this guy or this girl. And that even if they were really nice, you said, I can do this for myself. And here's where the mind reading comes in. Because the only reason you set your businesses up is that you said, if I do it for myself, I'm going to have a lot more fun. It's going to be so much more fun. If I do it for myself, I'm going to have, oh my God, it's going to be so much more freedom. If I do it for myself, I'm going to be so much more fulfilled because of the impact I'm making in the world. And if I do it for myself, oh my God, there's going to be like gold nuggets beside the bed cabinet, and it's all going to be mine. That was the story you told yourself, right? Fun, freedom, fulfillment, financial success. They're the only 4 reasons for starting a business. Because you can have a shitty day getting paid by anyone for anything, right? I could have done that in the sewers, literally shoveling shit. Fun, freedom, fulfillment, financial success. Now comes the Dr. Phil question. So how's that working for you? How many of you have got all 4 of that in the proportion and the amounts that you go, yeah, it's amazing. How many of you have got it already? All 4 of those. A couple kind of close to it, a couple of hands going up, but most of them no. And I find that really sad. I find it really sad. I'm kind of sad for you. Not like you're a saddo, right? But I'm kind of sad for you because it's actually much easier than you think to have all of that. Much easier than you think, right? So the real question here becomes, where did I go wrong? Like if you've just admitted to yourself, well, first off, congratulations, because by not putting your hand up, you actually just admitted that what you're doing isn't working. I hope you know that. What you're doing isn't working, because otherwise all the hands would have gone up. So congratulations, because the truth will set you free. And this is the start of it. This is where it can all change. But if we're going to admit that then begs a question. Because if we're not going to explore where it went wrong, we can't stop doing the stupid stuff that we're doing that's keeping it going wrong. So I'm going to stroke the arm. I'm going to put my GuRu head back on again. And I'm going to take what I believe is a really good stab at where it went wrong in your life. Went wrong because you started to play, in some way, shape, or form, the leadership game. You didn't necessarily know it at the time, but most people that set up a business say, I want to dominate this area, I want to do this, I want to be the leader of. And that then starts to spell the death knell for most businesses. Not all, but most. And here's why. Because as soon as you decide to become the leader, you stop looking at yourself and you start saying, well, what's he doing? How's he advertising his business? What is it about his Facebook ads that work? Oh, why did he put the opt-in box on the website like that? And now suddenly, instead of creating this really beautiful thing, like, do you remember, like back in the day when you first set it up, how exciting it was to set your businesses up, right? And even though you were kind of working from dawn till dusk, it kind of wasn't exhausting, was it? You could have gone all day because you're, wow, this is brilliant. I'm really enjoying myself. And what happened is you started to look at what other people were doing. And as soon as you started to look at what other people were doing, you started to tell yourself the story that yours wasn't good enough yet, or it wasn't ready yet, or that people wouldn't pay that for it, or it needs to be so much further along before I can ever ask a person to give me the kind of money I deserve for that thing. And what we have is instead of this beautiful thing that you feel really proud about, you go, wow, I'm so fortunate. I've built this thing and it's mine and it's beautiful, right? A bit like a baby. Because that's what a really good business is like. It's a bit like a baby. You love it, you care for it, you feed it, you nurture it, you watch it grow. Instead of creating and nurturing that baby, we create Frankenstein's monster. We go, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this guy's version of internet marketing strategy into play. Boom, and we bolt on the first arm, right? And then we say, oh, right, but I went to this convention and they were saying you should always do your social media like this. Boom. And before you know it, you've built Frankenstein's monster. And you look at it every day, and officially it's still kind of doing all the right things. Maybe it's making more money than it ever made before, but you don't feel that real love in your heart. You've got the cash. If we go back to those 4 F's, right, you've got the cash. The financial bit is hopefully building up for you. I know it's not true of everyone in this room, but hopefully it's coming along, right? But the fun, where did that go? And where did the freedom go? Like, are you spending more time in your business now than you ever have or less? Are you spending more time thinking about it now than you ever have or less? Right? Are you having much more enjoyment? Do you smile a lot more now as a result of having your business than you ever did before? Or less? Do you feel that your business is making a true and spectacular difference to the world by it being there? Or has it just become this place where you get up every morning and go to? And you clock in and you clock out and you put your hours in and you go home and you bitch and whine and moan to your partner about how shitty the day was and how many new hassles and struggles and challenges you've got to face. And oh my God, Mary said she's quitting and John said he's doing this and so on. That's what most of us have created for ourselves. It's a real shame, really, because every single one of us really set up our businesses in order to create the dream life. The dream life. How many of you have done that dream life exercise? You know, the dream day exercise. I would wake up on a beach with leprechauns massaging my feet and like all that kind of stuff, right? Or maybe that's just me. Weird fantasies. But we all want the dream life. That's why we set our business up. Again, we could have stayed in employment. We could have just had someone absolutely, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, put money in our bank account every month. And it may not have been a lot, but you could have gone home every night to freedom, right? You just go, oh, bye, finished, go home. Don't think about it till tomorrow. We could have done that. And we chose to set our businesses up. And we set it up because of this idea of the dream life, but without really kind of thinking about how we can actually have that. See, because the reality is, you can't have the dream life without the dream business. Obvious, right? That's what we're talking about here. You've got to build a dream version of a business, but I didn't describe a dream. I described a nightmare, Frankenstein's monster of a business, right? You can't build a dream business without attracting your dream clients. It just doesn't work that way, right? If you've got your dream business, you've got people that are staying more, playing more, paying more, saying more, they're communicating with you, and the entire thing is an enjoyable experience. And most of us don't have that experience. We're losing our clients almost as soon as we get them on board, right? It's transactional. It's not relationship-based for most people. And if that's not true for you, if you go, I keep my clients for ages, then that's awesome. You're one of the few. Hopefully you're attracting your dream clients. But you know if they're dream clients, because are you complaining about them once they're gone? Like, oh, I can't believe that John wanted that discount on that packaging, and he wanted, like, if we're complaining about them, they're not our dream clients. I'm really fortunate. Like, I love my clients. I literally love my clients. From neuroscience, the concept of love is actually a neuroscientific term, all right? A neuroscientific concept. It's part of your brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, ACC. And it just so happens that the ACC is responsible for acceptance, connection, and care, which are the ingredients of love. Many people don't love their businesses. They don't accept their business and the way it's run. They don't accept their clients. They're not truly connected. They're not truly connected to themselves. And they don't truly care about most of the things. What they end up caring about afterward is just, how can I get that? How can I make sure we remain in positive cash flow and that there's profit? It's not the same as being in love with your business. So how can we attract our dream clients if we haven't created our dream products? I mean, the ones that really turn you on, the ones that get you fired up, the ones that make you think, wow, I'm so proud to have this bloody product. I'm so glad I'm not being made to sell something else I don't really believe in, or something that's just so, or, right? I'm so excited and proud to bring this thing to the world. Well, you're not going to create your dream products if you're not actively creating your dream self. That's the reality. You don't have the dream life because you haven't created the dream business. And you haven't created the dream business because you're not attracting the dream clients. And you haven't attracted the dream clients because you haven't created your dream products. And you haven't created your dream products because you don't know yourself well enough, and you're not connected enough, and you're not inspired enough by your own dreams about what life could be. You could have made anything. You could have made anything. Any number of decisions, any number of choices, any number of products, any number of services. And I don't care whether you make what they call them in that movie, the flugel binders for shoelaces, or whether you make kind of coat hangers or soap. I don't really care. I don't care about your products. I don't care about your goals. I always say this to my clients. I don't care about any of that. I care about you. I care about the people that I work with and work for and collaborate with in this life. And what I care about is that they are living their life as a true expression of who they most wanted to be. Who did you want to be when you grow up? How did you want it to be? And where did it go so wrong? I just told you where it went wrong. It went wrong as soon as we started to say to ourselves that we can use other people's benchmarks as benchmarks for ourselves. I'm going to be the market leader. As soon as I become the market leader, or as soon as I attempt to become the market leader, I've started the journey of moving away from what Floyd earlier called it the true north. My business is no longer about my business is about your business. Amazing hypnotherapist, I wanted to enter that market. How do I make sure I kick her ass and steal her clients? Leadership is exhausting. Leadership is exhausting. You enter the marketplace and you see the leader over there and you go, one day that's going to be me. Right? So you chase. He did tell you that I actually had a near heart attack last year, right? Right. So I spend my career chasing other people. And I get there, I go, yes! And then I look back and I see the new people entering the industry. And what are they doing? They're chasing me. So I spend my entire career running. I run to catch someone or I run to stay ahead of someone. How, in any definition of the word, can that be considered leadership? If every decision I make is being dictated by, okay, I have to catch that guy, I have to keep ahead of this girl. How is that leadership? It's coming from a place of fear. Earlier on, he said, what's your biggest fear? And I think it was Floyd that asked that question, wasn't it? What's your biggest fear? And most of the people in this room that responded said what? Failure. I'm going to share with you an inconvenient truth. I love inconvenient truth. It's inconvenient because you've told yourself that you fear failure, which is simply not true, but it's something then that keeps you from taking action. Do you know what you really fear? You know what? In coaching, we talk about the thing is not the thing, or what lies behind the behind. None of you are afraid of failure, but every single one of you are afraid of the judgment that comes alongside of the failure. When people look at you and say, "What? Oh, you screwed that one up. Oh, you did. Oh, you didn't make as much money as you said you were going to do. Oh, what? That plan flopped, did it?" You're scared of the judgment that comes alongside the failure, not the failure itself. How many things have you failed at during your lifetime that you just really didn't give a crap whether it succeeded or you just went, "Oh, it's just nothing," and you just moved on? We're not afraid of failure because life, by definition, means that you're going to fail most things. You don't have to succeed at everything. But what most of you are scared of is what happens when, did I still think I'm good then? Like if I didn't make all the money I said I was going to make, if I didn't create all the products, if I didn't lead my industry, what will mum and dad think? What will my boyfriend think? What will my partner think? What will the marketplace think? Does the marketplace think that Dax Moy is as good as Tony Robbins? I don't care. I'm not in the Tony Robbins market. I'm just in the Dax Moy market. And that is ultimately the solution to fear, which is really the solution to failure. Imagine if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that every person in this room was going to either be neutral or support you, even if you had a go at something and you screwed it up and it didn't work out. How many of you would take more chances? All of you, right? You know you would. And those of you who didn't move their arms at all, you're liars, right? You'd all take more chances. You know you would. And it's the fear of judgment that's keeping you there. So what is our protection against judgment? Our protection against judgment is simply this: how well defined you are by yourself. If your definition of me is stronger than my definition of me, then whenever you kind of scowl or cross your arms or look disappointed in me, I'm like, oh, I've done something wrong. I haven't come up to scratch in your life. And I get fearful and I start to change my behaviors. But if I say, hey, look, everyone here is entitled to their opinion, I might get off and you might go, what was he going on about? And that was crap. I can promise you this, I would be disappointed if everybody in this room didn't enjoy the talk. But nothing that anybody in this room says or does is going to affect how Dax Moy feels about Dax Moy. I'll just go, oh, maybe I pitched the wrong thing to the wrong audience in the wrong way, wrong time, and that will be all it is. Because I've done the work to define myself. My belief is greater than your doubt. How about, instead of trying to lead others, ask yourself if you are a person that you would follow. And I don't just mean, yeah, because I've made a few quid here and there. I'm talking about, like, you know what life is really like for you. You know the dark thoughts that run through your minds, that crawl through your hearts, the doubts and the fears and the concerns. You know how you handle your stresses. You know how you speak to your partners when you get home, and you know what you're saying. Like, all the time you're bitching and whining and complaining and moaning about it. You know those things about yourself. Answer in the totality of the picture, am I a leader that I would follow? That is the bit that scares most people, because that's why most of us never even, if we want to stick with that old terminology of leader, that's why most of us never even truly step into leadership. Because like, well, if I become a leader, then I've got to stand up, and that means I don't want them to see all of that crap, and I don't want them to see how stressed I am, and I don't want to see how burnt out I am. So we spend our life acting. And if we spend our life acting, we spend our entire lives fearful of being caught, being found out, for being a fake and a fraud. That's the inconvenient truth. The inconvenient truth is that you only truly get to make the kind of impact on life that you were put here to make. I mean, literally, like, leave your fingerprint on life on the day that you check out. You only truly get to do that if you show up as yourself. I don't want to meet a person who's a copy of another person who's a copy of another person. I want to meet the authentic you. Authentic comes from the ancient Greek autohentes. It means self-created. Same as author. Same as authority. You don't have to be an authority on a topic because someone gave you the Boy Scout badge and the pin and the certificate, right? You don't have to, that's not what makes you the authority. The authority is when you say, hey, I've created my own definition around this thing. Do you want to hear it? Would you like to spend a little bit of time with me and hear my beautiful weirdo ramblings? People would much rather meet you as you than meet you as all of the facades and the stories and the, let's face it, the bullshit that you bring. They just want to meet you. When they meet you, you are in a position to really make a big impact. I run a program called the GuRu Project in Thailand. I'll be out there in 3 weeks' time. This is our formula for really understanding what's going on in someone's life. So this is obviously from the kind of the temple at Delphi, right? Know thyself. Know thyself. Cool, sounds really good. I took it on to another level. I asked myself, why do people struggle to show themselves, to really show themselves, to be authentic? Why do they struggle to, do you know, like after the death of a spouse or even fear of your own death, standing up here rates as the third highest of all fears? Standing on a stage and speaking to a group rates as the third highest of all fears. Why? Because whenever you show yourself, you're scared of being found out, you're scared of being judged. So if I really want to be able to show myself as the most powerful and impactful, courageous, compassionate, kind version I can possibly be, then I have to be aware that there's some growth that I have to take. There's some growing lessons. And I have to address those things. I can't just say, oh, let me just try the whole showing yourself. It worked for a while. We can all bullshit for a while, right? We can all get away with like hype and blather for a bit. Doesn't stop you terrified inside. But if we're going to truly grow ourselves, then it starts with knowing ourselves. And the other inconvenient truth is that most people don't know themselves very well at all. They've got lists of 1,000 values, when really all you need is about 3. 3 is the magic number. No more, no less. I won't sing it. My voice is terrible. How well do you know yourself? What are your values? Your values are like your compass. They tell you what's important about life. What are your beliefs? And I don't just mean your general beliefs. I mean specific beliefs. What are your beliefs about money? What are your beliefs about religion? What are your beliefs about race and sex and everything that you could possibly ever discuss in life? What are your beliefs? Are they clearly defined? Do you know yourself? Truth is no. People change their beliefs often as quickly as they change their socks. I've got teenage boys, so kind of probably not that often. What is your purpose? Like, why are you here? Like, why are you taking up space? Why are you breathing my air, damn it? Like, why are you here? Do you know that? See, because if you don't have an answer to those 3 rounds of questions, your beliefs, your values, and your purpose, then you don't really know yourself at all. And that's why everything's such a struggle. And that's why fear keeps showing up in your life so often. So I want to share with you my perspective on how to be a guru. Right? Something that you guys can take away and start working on. So it's really simple. 7 steps. 7 steps to becoming a guru. Excuse me. My formula for creating gurus is based around 7 M's. And the first M is to know who the messenger is. Now look, straight away you can see something different in the way that you've been taught to market and the way you've been taught to show up in the world. Most of you have been taught a model that says, some variant of, look to the thirsty crowd, give them a drop of water for free, sell them the second one. Right? Look to what the market wants, create it, serve that need. Makes sense. When you're in survival mode, that makes sense. Like if my family aren't going to eat tomorrow, then I'm going to do exactly that. But survival-based thinking is not a way to live long term. You've got survive at one end of the spectrum, you've got thrive at the other end of the spectrum. Where would you rather live? See, if we want to actually move to thrive, we've got to stop doing the things that we do just to survive, trying to replicate and grow that same pattern over and over again. Because it makes no sense. The things that we do to survive are very, very specific, right? Kind of, you know, I'm ex-military, done plenty of survival courses. And there's crappy, horrible, nasty things that you eat out of like drains and bags and bins and all kinds of stuff because you're 10, 12 days with enemy chasing you. That's part of the game. Okay, this is to survive. I'm being taught to survive here. That's not what I choose to do every night of the week, right? Kind of my wife's cooking me a lovely dinner and I say, oh, I'm just going to pop out to the drain and the garbage and see if there's anything there. Inane and insane, I know. But think about how your survival-based thinking tends to continue on, and you're wondering why you're not thriving. Because survival thinking can only create survival reactions. Thrive thinking creates thrive responses. What do you want? You want to thrive. So we don't look to the market first, we look to the messenger. So who am I? What do I know about myself? Again, what are my values? What are my beliefs? Right? What are my morals? What are my ethics? What do I believe about literally everything? Most people will spend more time choosing where they're going to go on holiday and what clothes they're going to wear than choosing who they're going to actually be as they walk the world through the days of this absolutely amazing, beautiful, awesome life. I haven't got time for that crap. Value stuff, yeah. Sounds really good. Oh, yeah, I've got a kind of pocket full of various ideas. I'll come back to that one day. Do you know what? You're going to keep getting taught the same lesson over and over again until you do come back to it and do the work. That's the way it works. It can't work any other way. Until you learn the lesson, it keeps getting repeated. Decide who you're going to be as the messenger. Next, decide what your message is. Like, do you know why you're here? Like, what are you here to do? What are you here to tell people? For the last 15 years of my life, as a coach, I described that my purpose in life was to help others to define, refine, and align with the greatest version of the grandest vision they hold of who they could ever be. Right? Flowery, isn't it? You wouldn't expect it from this guy. Peck dance. Let's break it up. Right? So that's what I knew myself to be here for, to help people to define, refine, and align with the greatest version of the grandest vision they hold of who they could be. That's what I'm doing right here, right this second on this stage. I'm living my purpose this minute. But then, can't see, right. Okay, but then I realized, actually, there's an even more powerful message that I want to deliver to the world. And it's this. And this is the core essence of everything I do across all 8 of my businesses. Remind people that you don't have to be more than you are. You've just got to be all that you are. Nobody wants to meet a piece of you, but I'm really interested in meeting all of you. And all of you means that you're happy, you're sad, you're miserable at times, you're vexed about certain things, you're really passionate about others. But whenever you hide parts of that, I don't really get to see who you are. I don't know who you are. I don't know what's important to you. Work on your message. Why are you here? Why are you taking up space? You're as entitled to be here. You're as entitled to be on this stage. You're as entitled to say weird and wonderful shit to other people as you want. It's up to you. The biggest difference is there are people in this world that will actually just go, not 100% certain if I'm right, but I believe it, and therefore, here I am. And let me have those conversations with other people and see if they think I'm a lunatic. The third M is magic. I spell it that way deliberately, by the way. Third M is magic. What are you amazing at? Like, what are the things about you, yourself, your life, that you take for granted? It might be humor. Maybe everyone always tells you, do you know what, you're just so disarming the way you use humor. It might be that you're extremely compassionate. It doesn't have to be a tangible skill like you create PowerPoint presentations awesomely. In fact, it's probably not that. For some reason, I've just been given a gift, and I've worked on it as well, but a gift that I seem to be able to storify things. Real word, right? I seem to be able to take ideas and move them into story and move people with words. So that's the second part of my magic. And the third part of my magic is that I have almost annoyingly a tendency to systematize everything. So I make something simple, I tell a story about it, and then I create the 7 M's of GuRu, and the 8 M's of mind map, and the 15,806, no, that's something different, right? But I take things and I turn them into systems, which means that I can then move those, I can teach it to anybody. If anybody here wants to be a neuroscience-based coach, transformational coach, I have a system for that. And you could learn it like that. Systems, stories, and simplicity, that's my magic. I didn't say anything particular about any one thing that I could do, right? They're more conceptual, they're kind of wider branching things. Where's your magic? Like where do you know, like when you're being honest with yourself, where do you know you bring something that, yeah, I just know I walk into a room and the room lights up, or I disarm people with humor, or I make people feel really, really comfortable, or whatever it happens to be. That's still part of your magic. But then look to where other people are often complimenting you. Where are they? Oh, Dax, that was brilliant. You just really put me at my ease with that thing, or you made it seem so simple. I heard that a million times before I realized simplicity was part of my magic. Oh, you just always make everything sound really simple. Yeah. Because to me, that was just Dax Moy. That's just how I got out of bed every morning and looked at things simply. I didn't realize it was magic. Didn't realize it was magic. He said, what do I mean by magic? Magic is the effortless stuff, right? Do you want to go to a stage show and see what should be a magic show, but see the guy manually move things around the stage and hide them behind curtains? Or do you want a person to do that and suddenly a bunch of flowers appear in their hand and you go, how the hell did they do that? That's magic. That's magic, right? It might be an illusionist, but that's magic. Taking the things that are difficult and turning them easy, just because for you it is. What's easy? What's easy in your life? What can you do? What can you bring? That's your magic. If you don't go to work as the magician, you go to work as the mule, right? Lifting and carrying and trudging everything around. Do you want to be the magician or the mule? Which one do you think gets paid most? Which one do you think gets the most respect? Which one do you think gets the most accolade and connection and everything else? Money. I think of money in 2 ways. There's the cash in my pocket. Where's it gone? No, there's a cash in my pocket, that kind of money. And then there's the other money, the M-U-N-N-Y, right, as I think of it. All of the ways in which I wish to be paid. Being paid in cash is not enough. It is when you're thinking as a survivalist. Shit, can't pay the rent this month. Boom. Yeah, thinking of the cash then is enough. But thinking of only the cash is a great way for you to end up with Frankenstein's monster again. There are other ways you want to be paid. You want to be paid in respect. You want to be paid in care, kindness, connection, any number of things. How do you want to be paid? Because once you've decided how you want to be paid, go out and damn well demand it from every place and every person you meet. I'm not doing that work if I don't get paid that way. I decide in advance how I want to be paid. I don't enter the marketplace and say, I wonder if there's a market for people who do this. I decided that when I launched my mind map program, the neuroscience cert, that basically as I launched it, I wanted, kind of in the first few months, I wanted to make $250,000 from it, right? Really, really simple. I need to sell 100 units at £2,500. I decided it that way. Because why did I want to sell 100 units? Really, really simple. Because I didn't want to have to go through all the work off the back end of trying to build this thing. And I didn't want to have to look after too many clients and students at any one moment in time. I decided how I wanted to be paid, and then I built my products and programs to match how I wanted to be paid. The model. Once you know what you want to be paid, the next thing is the model. What is most likely to create that for me? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be offline? Is it going to be face-to-face? Am I going to speak from stage? Am I going to write books? Like, what is your model? How are you putting this whole thing together so that you can wake up every day with a smile on your face and say, oh, this is effortless. I just get to go and play. Because I do. Like, what's your model going to be? If you look to the marketplace, the market will tell you this is how it's always been done, so this is how you've got to do it. And you'll go, okay. The question here is, how do you want to do it? How do you want to do it? It's never been done before that way. Okay, cool. I'm going to be the first then. Awesome. The market. Finally, the market. Now I know who I am, what I'm about, what my message is, how I want to be paid, what my product suite actually looks like. Then I finally say, who would buy this stuff in this way, at this price, off of this beautiful weirdo? Right? That's all that matters. And then finally, the marketing. And what is the marketing going to be? The marketing is simply just going to be, we don't have to figure out copywriting and should it be red and should it be blue and should it be bold. What we have to say is, are my values, my beliefs, is my purpose, is my care for the client, is the overall message, is my magic being demonstrated in everything I create? And once you do that, like you don't have to be a student of other people's marketing anymore. You say, this is what I'm here to do. I'm just going to have this little conversation with you. It always comes back to know yourself, grow yourself, show yourself. If you truly know yourself, you wouldn't create half of the products or take on half the clients that you currently think you've got to because you're in survival mode. You'd grow. You'd say, right, this is the level of growth I'm going through, and this is how I'm going to show myself. Wherever you are struggling to show yourself, reverse engineer it. Where haven't I grown and what don't I know? Absolutely every holy, every spiritual text, every philosophical text has a version of the truth will set you free. If you want to become a guru or a leader or just happy, happy's good enough, right? If you want to become happy, set yourself free. Start telling yourself the truth. Tell yourself the truth about what you're experiencing, how you're feeling, what you really want to bring. Tell yourself the truth about who you are. And awaken the guru within. Thank you very much.